and I just thought that we would talk to you today a bit about things to do with your life. I know you've written down some notes previously about your life, but we just thought we'd ask you some questions on video.
Well, it's a pretty long life.
How old are you now?
I'm 96, 97 in August.
Yeah. What date were you born?
I was born on the 24th of August, 1927. But my father registered me on the 14th. But I went to the doctor and the doctor said, no, you were born on the 24th.
So it's always been a problem, isn't it, with your passport and your licence?
It has, because the passport went down as the 14th.
What was your full name then?
My full name?
Yep.
My name was Thelma Doreen Slade.
And do you know why they chose that name?
Because the mum said there was a book written about Thelma, and it was such a beautiful book, she called me Thelma.
Oh, and what about Doreen?
Doreen was after my mother, was Hazel Doreen, so it was called after my mother.
Who else was at home then when you were born?
There was Mum and Dad and Gwen, my sister Gwen, who was born in February.
Yep.
Yeah.
The year before.
Yeah, she was a year and 8 months older than me.
Yeah. And her name was actually different than Gwen, wasn't it?
Her name was Noni Gwendolyn, called after Noni, but they called her Gwen because I didn't want to get her mixed up with Noni. My dad was Alexander Golding Slade, and he was born in Essendon actually. He was born in Essendon. And my mother was Hazel Doreen. And she was born in Western Australia. My grandmother's name was Beck, Lily Beck.
But your mum's maiden name was Hazel Doreen Harris.
Yes.
And her mum's name was Lily
Beck.
Lily Lenora Beck, wasn't
yes.
it? Yeah.
My grandmother lived in Hampton.
Yeah.
And she was a beautiful grandma. Loved all her grandchildren. Lovely woman. I used to go cooking with her every Saturday morning.
How did you get there?
I walked. We didn't have a car.
Did you ride your bike?
Yes, sometimes I rode my bike.
And
yeah.
How far away was it from where you lived?
Oh, it was about 10 minutes on the bike, not far. It was in Hampton.
She lived in Lineker Road, didn't she?
Yeah, she lived in Lineker Road and we lived in Villeroy Street. We lived in number 7 Villeroy Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you get that house?
My father bought it after the war. When the war finished, it was a war service area, and Dad jumped in and bought it. And he bought it because it looked down Hamel Street. He thought it would have given us a bigger outlook. And right at the end of Hamel Street was the state school.
Yeah.
Which I went to, Hampton State and then Hampton High School.
And you're only about a block from Hampton Street, weren't you?
Yes, just a block.
So
and not very far from Brighton. Brighton was just round the corner.
Yep. And how did you get around?
We had to walk everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, Dad didn't have a car. And it's a funny thing, when Dad was passing away, I said to him, is there something you would have done, Dad? He said, yes, I would have bought a car.
Yeah.
Would have made me more independent.
So how did he mainly walk and get the train and things like that?
He walked everywhere, but he was a very strong man. He was in the war in the First World War, and he won the Distinguished Conduct Medal in the First World War. Known as if you died, you got the Victoria Cross, and if you lived in it, you got the Distinguished Conduct Medal. And he was presented it by King George V.
He was very brave, wasn't he?
He was very brave. And on Dad's 90th birthday, his Colonel Lilly, who he'd worked with all the years he was in the war, for the 5 years, he'd worked under Colonel Lilly. Colonel Lilly came down to his house on his 90th birthday and proposed the toast to Dad.
That's lovely, isn't it?
And he said, your father was the bravest man I ever met, and I didn't want him to be killed in the war because he was so brave. He ran across the front line and right across the front line, and he messaged all the news back to us, back to headquarters. And he was shot in the leg, and they sent him. Nowadays they would send them home, but then they sent them back to the front line to do it again. Oh, he had a friend, Bob Archer, who was blinded during the war, and he became Bob Archer's eyes. He went everywhere with Bob, and he looked after him until they both died. He came back from the war. No, he wasn't married. He came back from the war, and he was a carpenter, so he got a job with the government. And he was an estimator in the government, and he could estimate a house that was being built down to the last nail. He was very clever, and they always asked him in to estimate a building.
And do you know how he met Hazel, his wife?
Yeah, I think they just met at a dance in Hampton.
Yeah. Is that mainly how people met then? Or?
Yes, it was, really.
He had a lot of brothers and sisters, didn't he? And so did she.
He had a brother. He had 3 sisters, and he had a brother, Billy, who he was very fond of. He was younger than him.
You used to like Uncle Billy, didn't you?
I did like Uncle Billy and Auntie Minnie. I used to go and watch Essendon football with him. And every Saturday I'd meet them. And they were lovely. I used to get the train from Hampton to wherever they were playing. I'd go out and meet him. And Uncle Bill and Auntie Minnie would be sitting in the front row on the fence. And he'd take something for us to have for lunch. But I never regarded it as a problem getting there. I just got on the Hampton train. We were used to trains and trams and public transport.
Yeah.
Because Dad never had a car. Auntie Flo was a missionary, and she was over in Peru for many, many years with Uncle Bert, her husband. And she was a missionary. She was lovely, one of my favourite aunties. Very, very nice. She had a daughter called Grace.
And then he had another sister, Rotha, didn't he?
He had a sister, Rotha, yeah.
He came back and got married and had you, and he kept working as a carpenter, didn't he?
He kept working as a carpenter, and he was employed by the government.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
He built a lot of things around the house, didn't he?
He did. He built everything. Anybody that wanted anything done, they'd call on Dad to come and do it, because he could manage anything.
And he never wasted anything either, did he? He
No.
used to make things out of leftovers.
Oh, they asked him at one stage. We had a bathing box down on the beach, and they had to take it down because there had been the entrance to it. They couldn't get to it, so he was asked to take it down, and he saved every bit of wood from that old bathing box, took it home to his house, and built a sunroom on the back of his house with it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And because in those days you didn't waste anything, did you? Because they went through the Depression and everything, didn't
Oh,
they?
yes, we didn't have much money at all. Only my dad earned. And then my mother started up a little business making paper hats. She was a dressmaker. She started a little business making hats and party hats and baskets for G.J. Coles. And she made her own little business and ran it to perfection. She paid tax and did all sorts of wonderful things. And she wasn't educated to do that. She was educated as a dressmaker. She worked in the city, and she was such a good dressmaker. They had her sitting up in a window covering lampshades in Royal Arcade. Yeah.
It's nice, isn't it? She could sew beautifully. And then when she had you guys, and then she started her business, and she sold quite a lot to the supermarkets and things.
She did.
Christmas and
Every Coles had Mum's hats and basket in it, and people loved them. Yeah, she was very, very clever. She made all our dresses, and she made my wedding dress and all the bridesmaids' dresses, and anything at all she could make, and it was beautiful. She was wonderful. She made all her own clothes, everything except her knickers. She made even made her own petticoats and everything.
Yes, her underwear is very expensive because she used to hide all her money in her corsets, didn't she?
She did. Yeah.
She'd say, if anything happens to me, don't forget to check my corsets.
I know. But she loved her grandchildren. She just loved them to perfection.
Just to get back about your mum, because we didn't go much into her family, but she was born in Western Australia and she had lots of brothers and sisters, didn't she?
Yeah, she had a sister
Or she
Nellie.
had one brother.
She had a sister Nellie and a sister Hilda.
Yeah.
And Auntie Hilda was lovely.
And she had another sister too,
And Noni was younger.
and Uncle Charlie.
She had Charlie and Leslie.
And Noni and Nell and Hilda, they all lived around the local area, didn't they?
Yes, they all lived in Hampton. Yeah.
So you had a pretty good family. You supported each other in the Depression. And
Oh,
all that.
yes, of course. And my father was very good during the Depression. He was the only one that had a job, and he used to go around and do all the shopping and drop it off to everybody's house and keep them up in food.
Yeah.
I went to Hampton Primary School and then Hampton High School.
Well, did you have a favourite teacher or?
Yes, I did have a favourite
Something you
teacher.
liked?
Maribel McAlpin was my favourite teacher. She was my history teacher, and she was one of the ones that was my best subject was history.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I liked her very much. She was a lovely lady.
Did they do any sports at your school or didn't do that then?
They did sports. They did hockey and
Oh, did they?
basketball.
And did you used to do swimming or just at the beach?
I did swimming, yes.
Yeah.
I was in the swimming team.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Because you always like the water.
I did like the water, yeah. And I went to Hampton High School. I started at Hampton State School when I started. I met Josie. And Josie lived in my street, Josie Burwood. She lived in my street. She was
She had a sister Sheila too, didn't she?
Yes. Sheila was older. Josie was my age. And Josie became my best friend. But when she married a fellow who was one of the heads of New Zealand travel.
Air New Zealand.
Air New Zealand. And so she travelled around a lot, and I lost touch with Jo a lot because she was overseas all the time. But now she's living a few suburbs just down from me, and we're still great friends. We're both the same age.
Yeah.
96 years old.
And what sort of things did you used to do with Josie?
Oh, we used to go bike riding. We used to ride around with our hands around each other's shoulders.
Did you play tricks on anyone?
Yes, we did.
What did you do?
We used to door knock. Josie was a faster runner than me. She used to drag me down the street, dump me down behind a palm and sit on me. We used to meet her. We used to meet Joan Head in Hailbury College, was in our street. We thought it was great fun to go over and have a midnight feast. I don't know what we thought was fun about it, but it was pretty cold sometimes.
And what about Gwen and Sheila? Were they in on all that?
No, Gwen was too good for that. Well, Gwen was more religious. My father's father were all Baptists,
Yeah.
and Gwen became a missionary with the Church Missionary Society. And she and David, who she married, David Rodder, she married him, and they went over to Africa, and they were missionaries out in the outback of Africa. They had a little hospital there in Mugwanza, and Gwen was the sister there, David was the doctor.
Yeah.
And they were there for very many years, helping them all out there in Africa.
Yeah.
Brenda was born in Africa, and Marcus and Graham.
So they stayed there for many years and then they ended up coming back to Australia in the end, didn't they?
They came back to Australia in the end, yes.
They moved back. I think they were in Berwick initially, weren't they? And then
They
ended
went to
up in
Berwick.
Kew.
David was a doctor in Berwick.
Yeah.
She was very clever. She was a clever woman, Gwen.
Mm.
Yeah.
When she was younger, she used to go away with your mum Hazel, didn't she? And they used to go to dancing competitions,
She
didn't they?
did go to dancing competitions up at South Street, Ballarat. And she used to win a lot of the places, things up there too. And eventually she got her teacher's certificate in dancing.
Yeah. And then while they were away, you would be batching with your dad.
I used to go
That's
to,
why you went to the movies.
I used to
and
go to
stuff,
the
and you'd be
movies with
scoring
Dad.
the baseball.
and Dad and I became very close, yes.
Yeah,
And that's where I met Ian, at the theatre.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And who else went? Did the whole family go down the beach or
Oh, yes, we all used to go down the beach.
after school?
Yes, Mum used to take Dad out dinner sometimes.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, we used to have dinner in the bathing box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
It was good. Josie and Sheila used to come down with the suit. Mum always had a pack of kids with her. Yeah.
But she used to take you on holidays too, didn't she?
She did. She took us everywhere. We didn't have a car, and we used to, Mum would ring up and she'd book a house up in Fir Tree Gully or down in Sorrento even, and we'd get the public transport to wherever we were going with our little bag.
How did they have trains going up there or?
Yes.
Yeah. What about Sorrento? Hasn't got a train though.
No, we'd get a bus.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And did you have suitcases or what were your clothes?
Oh, yes, we'd have to carry we'd all have a little suitcase and carry them.
Yeah. I think you said one time you took baskets of things, did you?
Took baskets.
Yeah. Did you take baskets or suitcases?
Oh, we used to take suitcases mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you went away, it was just her and you and Gwen and your friends, was it?
Yes.
Did other adults go away with you
Dad
as well?
Dad didn't come away with us.
No.
On our holidays. It was a lot of work for Mum, but she was wonderful to us.
Yeah.
And Josie and Sheila loved her.
At night time, you didn't have a TV when you were a kid, did you?
No,
What did you used to do then?
played cards.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, we always played cards. We played every card game you could think of.
What card games did you play?
We played solo and backgammon
Yeah.
and played 500.
And what about crib? You'd spend a bit of time playing crib.
Oh, yes, crib was Dad's favourite game.
Yeah.
And we played crib. Yeah, we're a real card-playing family.
And did you used to listen to the radio?
Yes, we listened to the radio.
Did you go out much?
Whenever we went out really in public transport.
Yeah.
We didn't go out much at night.
And did people go to each other's houses for dinner or what sort of things did you do?
Oh, yes, we used to. We used to go up to Nana's a lot, my grandmother's.
Oh, yeah. When would you go there?
Oh, we'd go there for Sunday lunch sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
And Dad would come up. Mum and I'd go up earlier and Dad would come up later on.
Yeah. And then later on, didn't your mum used to do the Sunday roast, didn't she?
She always did a big Sunday roast and she made beautiful apple sponge
Yeah.
afterwards.
And who would come to that?
Oh, Gwen would come sometimes. Sometimes it'd be the whole family or sometimes it'd just be our family.
And Dad's mum used to come, didn't she?
Yes, Ian's mother, because Ian's father had died a long while ago, Mum was very good to Ian's mother. She used to have her for a lunch of a Sunday.
What about traditions? Did you have any special Christmas traditions or where did you have Christmas?
We always had Christmas at Mum's place and we'd invite Nana over and Mum's sisters if they wanted to come, but yeah, she always came over and Grandpa.
Yeah. What was your first car?
I had a little car called Lulu,
Where was that?
1927 Austin. You had to crank it up to start it.
That's funny.
Yeah. It was lovely though. It was a beautiful little car.
There's a photo of you in that car somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, my father had never had a car, so it was the first car that I'd ever had.
How old were you when you got your licence?
I don't know. Must have been about 18, I think.
I can remember you saying you went for your licence in the city.
I went for a licence in the city, and I had to go up Russell Street Hill, and it was a very steep hill, and you had to stop going up Russell Street Hill, and you had to start it again and not allowed to roll back.
With the handbrake or something, did you?
You had to drive on your handbrake.
Yeah.
And
You had a manual licence, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to start it without rolling back down the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well done.
it was quite a good feat.
Yeah, be tricky.
Yeah,
So you drove your whole life, didn't you?
I did.
You're still driving now?
I am. I'm still driving.
Yeah.
And very carefully too.
So I was going to ask you a couple of other things.
Yeah.
Things that are quite interesting because to us, we never experienced them. Like when you were younger, you wouldn't have had all the machines and stuff that we've got now, like, you know, a dryer and a electric washing machine, all that sort of
Mum
stuff.
had a copper.
Yeah.
And she used to, I remember she used to sit me up on the copper and tie my hair because it was straight. She liked curls. She used to sit me up on the copper and tie my hair.
She
We had
used
a
to put
copper.
she put rags in your hair too,
Yes,
didn't she?
she did it in rags.
Like instead of curls.
Anything for curls.
Yeah.
She loved curly hair. She had curly hair. Gwen had curly hair. I had straight hair like Dad. But it was nice and thick.
So she used to twist it up, put it into rags and stuff
Yes.
like that.
You go to school, sometimes you go to school with these rollers in your hair.
The kids up the street used to come and get their hair done too, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Sheila and Joe
Yeah.
used to come down and get Mum's head, put their hair in rags.
And what was it like? Well, you wouldn't have had an electric fridge, would you, in the beginning?
No, we had an ice chest.
Ha-
The man used to come and deliver the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, from on a cart or something?
Yes, he'd come in on a cart and come and knock on the door, fill up the ice chest with ice.
And didn't kids used to chase after him and ask for a bit of ice?
Yes, they used to chase him down the street and say, "Can I have a bit of ice, mister?" And he'd give us a little bit of ice and we'd suck that and think it was gorgeous.
Because you wouldn't have ice, would you, really, if you didn't have a refrigerator normally?
No, you wouldn't.
How often would you have to get ice? Like once a week or more?
Oh,
than that?
yes.
Yeah.
Once a week you'd have to get ice. The ice man would come round and knock on the door.
And didn't they have other people bringing food to your door and stuff like that in those days?
Yes, men would come round with a big basket full of stuff from local produce to sell
Yeah.
the door.
That was
Yeah.
good. But
Yeah.
you didn't have big supermarkets then, or you just go down
Oh,
to local
yes, they
shops?
had some supermarkets, but nothing really big.
With the copper, you used to do your washing in
Oh,
it?
yes, Mum used to the copper you had to burn. It wasn't electric copper. It
Had
was
to light a
wooden,
fire.
a wooden one. You had to light a fire underneath it.
Yeah, to heat up the water.
Yeah,
And
and boil that.
boil all the clothes up, did
Yeah.
you? And then I remember she used to have a wringer, didn't she?
Yes, she used to wash everything by hand and fill with soap.
Yeah.
And then she used to wring it out.
Because I remember winding the wringer and the clothes, you had to wind it through and they all got
Yeah.
squashed as they came through and
That's right.
get the water out of them.
Yeah.
And she had a funny
and hanging
looking-
on the line.
She had a funny looking clothesline. It was like strung right across the garden.
Yes, right across the backyard.
There were two ropes.
And you had props that went underneath it
Yeah.
that held the wires up.
And it was like a windmill or something, and you used to have to turn these things and it made the ropes go up and down.
Yeah.
And you used to have some play equipment in the backyard too, didn't you?
Yes, I can't think what they were.
Pa made some sort of roundabout thing and a swing and
A
stuff
slide
like that.
we'd
Yeah.
have, yeah.
He used to make all that stuff by
Yeah.
hand, didn't he?
Yeah, it was very good.
Didn't you have a pond in the garden?
Yes, he had a fish pond.
Yeah.
And he loved it. You'd go and put your fingers down and the fish would come up and nibble your fingers.
Yeah. And you used to have an outside toilet then too, didn't you?
Yes, we did. It was cold going out there too. And I was nervous going out at night time. I'd have to come out and sit outside the back door.
You were more worried that there'd be a chicken hanging there, weren't you? Didn't they used to get chickens?
I hate chickens. I couldn't stand the feathers.
So they used to pluck them, didn't they?
Yeah,
You used to pluck them at the back door and hang them up.
yes, I hated them.
And when you had to have a bath with your hot water, wasn't there a thing where you had to put money in to heat up the water or something?
You put fire. Heated up the water with fire, wood.
For the bath?
Yeah,
Oh, did you?
yeah. You have to have you heated up your water for the bath.
Yeah.
That was a long while ago.
Yeah. And I can remember them having a gas stove in the kitchen, but you had to put shillings in it to make the gas come.
Yes, that's right. And we didn't have a phone. So when we went in next door, we'd go in next door to use Mrs. Bain's phone and we'd have to leave tuppence there for the phone call. Tuppence. I put the phone on when I went to work. I put the phone on for Mum and Dad.
Did you? Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. What sort of things happened during the war that you remember that affected your family?
Oh, there was war, there was food rationing, of course. We couldn't, yes, if you went to somebody's place and you took sugar in your tea, you had to take your sugar with you. That's how scarce everything got.
How did they know how much you could buy and things? Did you have like a
Oh, you had
system?
tickets.
A ticket?
Had ration tickets for everything.
Where did you get them from?
They came in the mail.
Oh, wow, that's tough, isn't it?
Had to take a ticket to go and get anything, any food like that. Couldn't stop you coming up.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mother had died when he was 3 years old. So
What happened to him?
he more or less,
What happened to his father?
he was run over, knocked over in the street by a car. But my father became then like Ian's father. And because Ian and I were the same age, and I was only 16 when I met Ian.
How did you meet him?
I met him because Dad and I used to go to the movies on a Saturday night. We sat in the back row, and Ian was an usher there, and he used to stand up the end of the aisles to usher people down. So he got talking to Dad and I, and then he asked me to go out with him.
You said he did a few different jobs, didn't you?
Oh, his mother had him in every job under the sun.
I guess she was just trying to get by.
She had him as a paper boy, as a delivering fruit. No matter if there was a job going, she'd go around and see if Ian could have it. Her name was Mary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mary McLeish.
Yeah, Mary McLeish. Yeah.
Her maiden name was Voigt, wasn't it?
Yes, maiden name was Voight. But she had a hard life because she was left with her children. She had Mavis. Mavis was a lot older than Ian. 16 years older than Ian. And so Ian was a twin, but his twin had died. He wasn't well when he was always sickly when he was born.
How sad is that she lost a twin when he was like a few months old, was he?
Yes.
And then she lost her husband when Dad was 3.
Yes.
She had 3 kids then. She had Norm, Mavis and Ian.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they had a very, very hard life. Ian was, he didn't know what to do with sport. And my father was in the first Sandringham baseball team that was ever made. He was a foundation member. And he started Ian playing baseball, and in the winter, and in the summer they played cricket. So he taught Ian cricket and baseball, and they became Ian's favourite sports. And then Ian was president of Sandringham baseball for 19 years. My dad had been president, yes, before Ian. And then, but they really enjoyed their sport together.
And did you used to go down as well?
I used to score
Yep.
for baseball, which was very hard, the scoring.
Yeah.
And I used to score for it. I loved baseball. Ian was 18 when the war finished, and he'd applied to go in the Air Force. And they sent him out the papers, and the war was finishing, so his mother burnt the papers. She didn't want him to go in the Air Force.
Oh, that's funny. She was a bit cheeky, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Yeah, she was a very strong woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit flamboyant.
Yes, she was. She had a boyfriend, I think, at one stage.
Yeah. What did she do for a living?
She was a tailoress. Anne's mother, yeah.
And didn't she work as a companion to somebody?
She worked as a companion to Mrs. Churnside, who was very high up with the prestige people of Melbourne.
Yeah. So just before I forget, there was a funny story you were saying about when you met Ian and you were going out together in Hampton and he was saying goodbye to you.
I was saying goodbye to him, and it was out of the front veranda. We heard a noise in the driveway, and Ian rushed out towards the noise thinking it was a peeping Tom, and I screamed out, "Quick, Dad, somebody's got Ian." So Dad said, "My God, I'll get them." And he leapt out of bed in his pyjamas. And down Hamill Street, there was the man he was chasing, there was the Ian, and then there was Dad following them. And then Mum came running after Dad with his dressing gown saying, "Put this on, Alec, put this on." Anyway, the man finally got away and we all came home.
That's funny. Oh, well, hopefully he never came back again.
Yeah. Oh, we weren't going to let Dad get cold without his dressing gown.
That's funny.
Yeah.
When did you leave school?
I went up as far as what they called proficiency certificate. It was third form high school. And after I finished that, I went to Hassett's Business College and learned typing and shorthand.
Yep.
Yeah.
So where did you go to work then?
Well, Dad took me in and I got a job at the taxation department. Dad took me into the Commonwealth because he was working for the Commonwealth as an estimator. He took me in to the Commonwealth department.
And where's the tax? Was it the
Taxation department was on the top of London Stores building, and was really a great position because every time somebody came...
Herb Street, you mean, in the city?
Yes, in the city. And we used to be able to lean out the window and welcome all the soldiers when they came home on leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You used to see them come home?
During the war, yeah.
Wow.
I went to Caxton Publishing Company.
Did you? And didn't you meet Lexi working somewhere?
Yes. She worked at Hoover, and I went to work at Hoover too.
Yeah.
And that was before I met Ian, because at our wedding they gave us a Hoover certificate as a Hoover vacuum cleaner as a wedding present.
So Lexi, what was her second name? Dwyer, wasn't it?
Lexi Dwyer.
Yeah. So she was your bridesmaid, wasn't she? Was she a bridesmaid? Or you were
I was her
hers?
bridesmaid.
Oh, okay.
Gwen was my bridesmaid, and my cousin Janet.
You didn't work in Sydney, did you? Or did you? Before you had the kids?
No, I had to look after the children.
And then later on, you went to work at Hashiona?
Yeah.
In Chesterville Road? Up in Moorabbin? And used to do accounts receivable there?
Yeah.
And then...
It wasn't an easy job.
No, that was very complicated. And then you left there and you got your favourite job that you ever had, didn't you?
St Vincent de Paul Children's Home.
Yeah.
I worked for Jane Geeson, who was a Sister of Mercy. It was run by the Sisters of Mercy. And it was the best job I ever had. She was beautiful, Jane Geeson. And Patrice Orchard, I worked with her also.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get in touch with Patrice, but I can't find it. But Jan Geeson became head of all of the Sisters of Mercy in Australia, and she died.
And that place where you worked, that was down in Blackrock in Balcombe Road, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you worked you fronted up the office there, but you also used to see the kids and the parents and the social workers.
The children were gorgeous.
Yeah.
That came in, that didn't have any parents, and yeah.
And sometimes the parents used to come in, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did.
But what happened when you went for the job there? I can remember you saying, you said to them, "Oh, maybe I'm too old for this job."
Yes.
And what did they say?
They said, "No, you're perfect."
Yeah. They wanted someone who's understanding, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they really loved you there.
And it was lovely. It was the best job I ever had. Jan Geeson was a beautiful woman.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
I said, "It doesn't matter, I'm not a Roman Catholic." And they said, "We don't care. You are." Well,
so you worked there for many years, didn't you?
yes, I did. Until I retired.
So how old were you when you got married?
21.
Right.
We married on the 19th of February, 1949.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We got married at Holy Trinity Church in Hampton, Thomas Street, Hampton.
Is that where you used to go to church?
Yes, used to go to Sunday school there.
Oh, did you get confirmed there?
Yes.
Oh, nice. And so you got married there?
Yeah.
And then did you have a honeymoon?
Yes, we went to Lorne, Erskine House.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful. Lovely Erskine house. He was transferred to Sydney. Yeah. We lived up in Sydney and I had my 3 children up there.
Yeah.
And which was very difficult because I didn't have any family.
So,
But I met a family, the Phillips family. Barbara Phillips became my best friend.
yeah,
And her family enveloped us and made us their part of their family.
yeah.
It was lovely.
So how long were you in Sydney for?
And 8 years.
Mm,
We lived in Mossman.
yeah.
It was a lovely suburb. Yeah.
And you had a good friend just up. When you first went there, didn't you have to board someone else's house?
Yes, we did. We took just a bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, it was all right, except the woman was a bit miserable. We finished up paying her to leave, and we took over the place.
Didn't you? They used to call that key money or something, didn't they?
Oh, that's when you paid people.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think we had to pay her to leave.
yeah. And you were saying when you first had a baby, you didn't know anything about it, did you?
No, I knew nothing about
They didn't
children.
tell you much. They didn't give you like birthing classes or anything in those days.
It was very hard because we were in Sydney,
Yeah.
not having a family. And none of my friends had any children.
Yeah.
I was only in labour for 4 hours.
That's a bit of a shock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only 2 hours for us.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
My doctor used to say it's just like shelling peas. I said, yes, I don't think so.
It didn't hurt him a bit. How did you choose your children's names?
I chose Barbara from my best friend, Barbara Phillips. And I don't know how else I chose Ross. Just a name that I really liked. And Ross is Ross Alexander, of course. Alexander was after Dad.
What about Susan and Carol?
I just liked the names.
Yeah.
Just picked names I liked. And Dad was away a lot. He was overseas travelling with his...
But that was later on, wasn't it? After he came back to Melbourne.
Yes.
Mm.
He used to go away for weeks at a time.
Mm. How did you cope with that?
Very difficult.
So you weren't working at first when you came back to Melbourne, were you?
No, but Mum was a great help.
So where did you live at first? You went back to Hampton again?
Yes.
And were you renting a house there?
Yes, we went. Did we rent in Margaretta Street? Yeah.
So that was good. So you didn't work when you're back in Margaretta Street, and then you moved to, where did you buy your house? Your first house that you bought?
Tramway Parade.
Yeah.
When we bought Tramway Parade, the roads weren't made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a rough road.
Why did they call it Tramway
Trees
Parade?
were down the middle of. It used to have trams down there many years before.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. But it soon became very popular. We bought the land from Keith Dorcher, and I think it was a couple of $1,000 we paid for it.
Yeah.
Wasn't very much at all. And we built next door to Keith and Norma Dorcher, who became our best friends.
Yeah, they were great friends, weren't
Oh, they were wonderful friends. We went overseas with them.
Yeah.
We did everything with Norma and Keith Dorcher.
Yeah.
We used to play cards every Saturday night with them.
Yeah.
They were wonderful friends.
I can remember going in swimming in their swimming pool every night after school.
I
in the
know,
summer.
they made it. It was just like it was our own pool.
Well, if I didn't go in there, Norma would come and say, "Where are you? How come you're not having a swim?"
Yes.
She was very kind.
Oh, they were wonderful friends. They looked after you just like you were their own children.
And so, where did the kids go to school?
Well, they went to various schools.
Morris Primary School.
Yeah.
And then the girls, Barb, Susan, Carol, we all went to Mentone Girls High School.
Yes, you did. Ross went to Mentone Grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember you used to say you spent a lot of time taking Ross surfing.
I did. Ross used to love to go surfing. And I had a little Volkswagen. And I used to put all the surfboards up in the top of my car, and then pack into my car, and we'd go around to all the beaches. Even in the winter time, they love to surf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the surf mum.
I was a surf mum.
So you went to live in Beaumaris and you had 4 kids. You went to school there and we all ended up growing up and getting married and having kids. What do you think that was the most challenging thing, thinking back on your life in those days?
Well, it wasn't so much challenging when we came back to Melbourne because although Ian travelled a lot and I was left a lot there, with my whole life really became just bringing up the children because Ian was travelling overseas with Celix Decal and then the laundry business. But
You used to work hard, didn't you, looking after the kids?
it was hard work. Yeah, because you were all doing different things and trying to keep everybody happy. And yeah, my whole life was devoted to the family, really.
I can remember you saying that you were walking along the street with 4 kids once and someone said something about you.
Oh, poor woman, they said. I said, I don't think I'm a poor woman. I think
You were
I'm
quite
very
happy
lucky.
until then.
I think I'm very lucky.
Yeah. So
I really enjoyed my life, though, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were your aims in life, do you reckon? What were you trying to achieve in life?
Oh, just to try and get a nice house. Dad used to say if you could get a nice house and you've got a house and you've got enough food in your kitchen, that's all you need.
And
Yeah.
what were your hopes for your kids, do you think?
I hoped for the kids that they would get educated and meet somebody nice. And they all finished up with very nice partners.
Yeah.
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
If I didn't like somebody, I'd get rid of them.
Would you?
I would. I'd say, get rid of him, he's two-timing you, or he's condescending to you, he's looking down on you, get rid of him.
Yeah.
And then they'd finish up with somebody nice.
We were talking about Beaumaris, how you lived there, and you used to have a lot of friends over in Beaumaris, didn't you?
We did, yeah.
What did you do for fun, for entertainment?
In Beaumaris,
Yeah. You used to have dinner parties and things? And
yes, we did have dinner parties. We always have a lot of friends around and everything. Everybody seemed to rally around and the kids' friends all came and yeah.
And we used to play darts.
We played darts up in the garage.
We used to play cards a lot, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And what about functions? You had a few functions in Beaumaris, didn't you?
Yes, we used to have charity functions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have things to raise money for something.
I remember you had like a gambling night one night. We had everything set up, or you'd have people from Kiwanis or from the baseball club.
Yeah.
You had my 21st there, I remember. We had a big pig on a spit out in the carport and the backyard all done up with festoon lights and everything.
Yeah, we didn't leave any stone unturned.
You used to do a lot of barbecues, didn't you?
Yes, we did. Ian was famous for his barbecues. He went to somebody else's house, he'd take over their barbecue. He loved barbecuing.
And you used to have people over to play cards and things, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
You had some good friends, didn't you? Who did you mostly see when you were socialising?
We saw the Hatchards.
Yeah.
A lot of people that have all passed on now.
The Hatchards were in Kiwanis, weren't they?
Yes, they were. And a lot of other friends we made through Kiwanis.
Mm-hmm. And with your friends, you also had made some good friends from overseas, didn't you? You used to play mahjong with Cohen
did.
Hing, didn't you?
Yes, we did. They taught us mahjong.
And you used to be great friends with some of the people that Dad used to work with too, and he made a really good friend with Asuk and Cuckoo, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And Cuckoo was lovely. It was through the laundry.
Because Ashok used to be the financial manager at the Windsor Hotel, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Mm.
Yeah, he was. And they were lovely. Great friends of ours
Yeah.
until Cuckoo died. She was lovely.
Yeah. They had Rowett and Priya, didn't
Rowett
they?
and Priya.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you still hear from them now, don't you?
I do. I do still hear from them.
Mm.
Yes, they were a beautiful family.
Yeah. Do you remember us used to read your palm?
Yes.
When you went to Barbara, you guys decided, when Dad was sort of between jobs, and you decided you were going to go and manage a motel, didn't you?
Owned by Susan.
Yeah.
Susan owned a motel and we went up there to manage it.
And where was
It was
that?
called the Lake Resort, was it?
Yeah, I think it might have been the Lake Resort in Barbara. And so who went up there?
Dad and I.
Yeah. So there was a motel and a restaurant, wasn't there?
Yes, it was. It was quite a difficult time, really.
Yeah. So what did you have to do for the motel?
Oh, just make sure everything was running smoothly and get all the staff together. And
Yeah. So you used to do the computers and the bookings and the
Yeah.
bills
yeah,
and all the ins and outs of all that stuff. And they used to organise the people to come and clean and
I did. It
work
was
in the
quite
restaurant.
a very tricky job, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you had to be there all the time, didn't you?
yeah.
To book people in, book people out.
Oh, yes.
Because Ian never learnt how to do it accidentally on purpose. So someone was on call 24/7.
That's right. You know who that was?
Yeah, lucky you. Someone else was busy being maitre d' at the restaurant.
Yes,
So he liked that, didn't he?
that's right. He was so tied up with his sport.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing sport when he was up there. He was mostly getting people into the restaurant. wasn't he?
Yeah.
After you've been living at Beaumaris for many years, how long would you have lived there?
Oh, 30 years.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably about right.
We moved in 1960 when you were born
Yeah.
and moved out in 1990. I
How's
loved
life?
4 Brighton Street, and the woman that had been in it, she loved that house. It was full of lead light, and she was a lovely woman. She had a beautiful garden.
Yeah. And you put something in the back garden, didn't you? The pool.
Yes, we put a pool in the back garden
And
with a spa. And Ian used to love to go and sit out the spa, even in the winter. He'd heat up the spa and go and sit out there
Yeah.
in the rain.
Yeah. And the kids used to love it, didn't they?
Oh, the kids loved it.
And it backed onto Sweetwater Creek, which was nice.
Yes, it was.
So
Yeah.
that was nice. So
It
you
was the
lived-
most beautiful house. I didn't want to move from there, but when Ian died, it was too big for me.
Yeah.
Had 5 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So I moved up to 16 Brighton Street.
Yeah.
But it was still a nice house. And I still met the same people at the shopping centre who were lovely.
And you had a dog too, didn't
Yes,
you?
had a dog,
Sam.
Sammy.
Yeah. I think Tash made you get Sammy.
Yeah, I
Or
think
you got
she
him for Tash.
Yeah,
Did you have pets when you were growing up?
always had a dog growing up.
What
Hey.
sort of dog?
I had Border Collie,
Who
and
was
that was
called
Lassie. Lassie. And I had a brown and white Border Collie, Emmy.
Yeah, that was when we were in Beaumaris.
She was lovely.
Yeah. And you used to have a lot of poodles too. You used to breed poodles.
We used to breed poodles, apricot poodles.
Mm.
We bred, and we didn't sell them, we gave them away.
And then you went to the unit in Brighton Street, number 16. I think you were there for about 25 years, weren't you?
Longer than that, 30, I think, 13
Were
years.
you? That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
It was
you're
a long
living there by
time.
yourself.
I knew everybody up the shops and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you used to go to the exercises twice a week and used to babysit the kids.
Yeah. Twice a week I used to go down to the gym.
Yeah. You started playing the computer a lot too and you made friends, didn't you?
Yes, I did on Safe Harbour. I joined Safe Harbour and met people from overseas that used to write letters to me and everything.
Yeah.
I made a lot of friends on. And I still play in Safe Harbour.
And have you got any special friends that you made online?
I met Tom. He came out and stayed with me and brought his son. He was Ed. He was
Yeah.
they were lovely.
Yeah.
Just lovely. I showed them all around Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a millionaire.
I can remember getting a bit of a shock when you told me that someone that you met online, you were going to go and pick them up from the airport. I was a bit of a worry. Anyway,
No, he was
it turned out to
lovely.
be good.
He was lovely.
And then also you had another friend from Canada whose son came out and stayed with you too. Is it Lorraine
Yes.
Blanchard's
Yes.
son?
He came out and stayed with me.
Mm.
Yeah. It was lovely to have those people.
Yeah.
I was very trusting though,
Yeah.
having them out.
But
Really.
then they were really nice too. And I remember when my daughter Sarah went to Canada, she actually went and had a meal with them at their house. Lorraine Blanchard had her
Yes.
for dinner.
She's lovely. I still play with Lorraine.
Yeah.
I play on Safe Harbour with her.
Mm.
Yeah, she's lovely.
So
And I've even had letters from her. She really appreciated it. She loved it.
yeah.
I still hear from Lorraine.
And you've got a few friends online, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Is it Anne?
And yeah,
What's your name when you're playing on cards? online?
Golding too.
Golding too. Have you got any other secret names?
No?
I think you have.
What?
Haven't you got one like Beach Girl or something like that? Get some
No.
other name. I think you have.
Have I?
Yeah. You've forgotten your other name.
I have.
Goodness knows what she's up to. Been through a couple of sad times in the family though, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Mm. What do you think, what would be your saddest time, do you reckon?
Lucy Alexander. I loved him so much. He was the most beautiful boy. It was just so sad. And Barbara's sadness was hard to cope with. Yeah.
So that was a very hard time, wasn't it?
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible.
And
it was-
then you lost Ian as well, didn't you?
Yes, that was very hard. He was only 68 when he died.
Yeah.
And he should have had a longer life.
Yeah.
But he never had any regrets.
Yeah.
He said, I never have any regrets. I've had a happy life and I have wonderful children. And, you know, we had a happy marriage.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he said, what more could I ask for? I've no regrets.
Yeah. No, he lived life to the full and so
Yes, he
did you.
did. And when he had the accident and he hit his head, he didn't regain consciousness.
Yeah. Well, I think he probably had a heart attack or something and then
Yes.
and he just drove slowly into another car, but no one was injured or anything like that.
Yes, he did. He sideswiped 2 cars.
But he never woke up again.
No.
And then I remember your dad, he passed away when he was in his early 90s.
92.
92. He had a knee replacement, didn't he?
Yes, but that's not what he died of.
He had renal failure, I think.
Yes, he
didn't
had renal failure.
Yeah.
But he said he always wanted Mum to go before him because he didn't want to find Mum struggling or anything.
Yeah.
But I said, no, we'd look after her, you know.
So she lived longer than him because she was younger than him, wasn't she? Because he was born
Yes.
in the late 1800s.
Yes.
And
Yes, she was 98 when she died, Mum.
yeah, she lived a lot longer.
Yeah.
So she lived by herself for a while, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Then she went into a nursing home.
She lived with Gwen for a while in
Yes.
Kew, and then she ended up, going into
Into a nursing home.
home.
Yeah.
You did a few trips overseas, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Where did you go?
I can't remember all the places we went to now.
So you first off, Susan got married to Bill, and she went to live in London, didn't she?
Yeah, we went over. We had a holiday over with Sue in London.
Yeah.
And then when Sue moved to America, we went over and had a holiday over there in America.
Mm.
Ian loved travelling.
So when you went to London, because he'd already travelled a lot, hadn't he? But you hadn't
Yes.
travelled as much.
No,
You'd been overseas a couple of times to Fiji and that, hadn't you?
yeah. We went with Deutsche to Fiji once.
Yeah. And then when you went over to see Sue in London, then you did a bit of travelling around. You went
We
to...
went over to Paris. No, we had a wonderful time over there with Sue.
Didn't you drive around a bit
Yes,
with
we
them?
did. We drove a lot around England.
Did you go? You went along the Rhine, didn't you?
Went over to, yes, we did. Went to Germany.
Yeah.
We didn't go into Berlin.
Yeah.
We just drove down the Rhine.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It's a beautiful spot down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
When Susan moved after a few years, she went over to LA and then you went and stayed there, didn't you?
We went and stayed in LA. That was lovely too.
You did a bit of a road trip there, didn't you?
Yes, we saw a lot of America there.
You drove along between LA and San Francisco, didn't you?
Yes, we did go to San Francisco.
What do you think makes a healthy life?
Well, I tried to think how I could be healthy, and I have never had a cigarette in my mouth. I've never smoked, and the reason was that my father didn't like women smoking, and I loved him that much I wouldn't disappoint him by smoking, so I never ever smoked. Everybody smoked that was my age, but I was supposed to be very old-fashioned, not smoking, but I wouldn't smoke. And I think because I didn't smoke it, that was really helped me a lot. And I just tried to live a simple life and not want something that I didn't have. And I think you've just got to be happy with what you've got.
But you also kept active, didn't you, with your exercises you did for many years?
I did. I went to exercises, and when I had my knees done, my knees replaced at 80, I went twice a week for 13 years. I went to a gym, keeping active, trying to keep myself fit. And when I had my knees done, after that I went to Golf Links Road Rehabilitation Centre for 2 weeks after each knee, and I think that's what stood me in very good stead with my strength.
And you still go to exercises now, don't you?
Yes, I do go. Tuesday morning, I go. I'm in a village now, retirement village, and they have a class, sit-down class, every Tuesday morning, and we all go and do an hour's workout.
What's the best thing about that? Coffee afterwards.
And then we go out to have coffee afterwards. But they're lovely girls, and they're all, we've formed a great friendship between us.
And what about your favourite music? What's your favourite music, and did you go to any concerts?
We went to every concert that was around, but we were in most of the concerts. Gwen and I were always in a concert.
And who's your favourite person now to listen to with music?
John Williamson.
Yeah.
I have him in my car, and I believe he's 73 now.
Oh.
But he's written all these beautiful songs all about Australia and about his life. And they're just so beautiful, so meaningful.
Yeah.
He's a lovely man. I take him everywhere with me. Yes, I do. I love roses. But I like all flowers, but I really love roses. Yeah, they're beautiful.
Any special rose that you like?
Yes, just cherry.
Oh,
The most beautiful perfume. Just lovely.
What sort of roses did your mum like?
She liked the little pink ones. The little pale little pink. She loved the Cecil roses. She loved them. She always had 2 or 3 little Cecil pinned to her jacket. And she was young, yeah.
That's lovely. What would your perfect day look like?
My perfect day, when I was working,
No, any day like now, what would be perfect to you? Or whenever?
whenever it was summer, I'd be on the beach. I couldn't keep away from the beach.
Yeah. That's lovely. What's your favourite beach?
Well, we swam at Hampton Beach, but we went to Sydney for 8 years. We tried out all the beautiful beaches up there.
Where's your favourite place to have a coffee?
Blackbird Coffee. Blackbird Restaurant. They're so sweet. The lady that owns it, Sue, is absolutely beautiful. She owns it and she makes all the things, all the cakes and things. And they always make me so welcome. They all call me by first name, and as soon as I walk in, my coffee's on the table before I've sat down.
And do they tell you what you're having for breakfast, don't they?
They do. There's a little man that works in there called Shane. He's a little waiter, and he really comes up and tells me all, this is good today, this is good today. So he gives me all the nice things to have for breakfast.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the key to a successful marriage?
I do think that it's understanding the other person, and I've always taught my grandchildren that the greatest attribute that they could have is to have kindness, to be kind to people, and they'll be kind to you. And I think all my grandchildren, I'm so proud of them all.
There's one from Patty. Do you like Spider-Man?
Oh, Paddy, I loved Spider-Man. I think he was always so good to everybody. And I love his bright colours and all the pretty clothes that he had. I love Spider-Man. He was one of my favourites, Paddy.
Good to know. What advice would you give your grandchildren?
I give my grandchildren the advice to be kind to people and love and understand them, and really don't judge people. Everybody lives their own life. Don't judge them. That they do the best that they can, and if you don't like somebody, well then don't associate with them.
What would you like people to remember about you?
I don't think there's anything special about me.
I'm sure there are lots of things.
Oh no, I don't. I just want them to think that I was a kind person and a good friend. And they could always turn to me for anything.
Yep, that's true.
I just want to say how much I appreciate my wonderful family. I don't know what I would have done without them. I just rely on them for all my happiness. My grandchildren are wonderful. They ring me up all the time, make sure that I am okay. They're such a backstop to me. I tell you what, I don't know what I'd do without them. I'm so lucky.